Welcome Gremlins. Today we have the release date of Dragonflight to talk about, because we have now just gotten a supposedly leaked document which is informing us of several release dates amongst the Activision Blizzard products. They include Diablo 4 pre-purchase date, they include Call of Duty global launches of the titles, they include Wrath of the Lich King Classic release dates, it includes the Overwatch 2 early access launch, but it also includes the pre-patch of Dragonflight and then the release date of Dragonflight itself. So, let's talk about this, shall we? What I pointed out in my initial prediction back in June was somewhat close, I have to say. I was 1 week early in the release of Season 4 and I was 1 week late in my predicted release for Dragonflight. I still said, to be fair, points to me that it might have even been end of November. I wasn't even sure that it would have come out in December itself, also because of this prediction, because of this prophecy from one of our main leakers, one of our main predictors of Dragonflight. It was predicting that Dragonflight would have come out in November, to be fair. So the date in question is November the 28th for the release of Dragonflight and October the 25th for the release of the pre-patch of Dragonflight. Blizzard so far has not come out to deny or confirm any of this, as expected with leaks. Now, by this point, I don't think there are too many players still very into the pipeline of this is all a ruse, this is all a plan from Blizzard. In reality, they are releasing the expansion in March or in February. There is no way it comes out in December. I hope that by now you have all changed your minds. It is indeed coming out. In fact, no, technically you're right. It didn't, in fact, come out in December because it's gonna come out in November, even earlier than that. Now, when we come to the dates of the releases, there were just a couple of questions about the release date of Shadowlands. Once we know that it's going to come out this year, you have two questions. Number one, how long was the pre-patch going to be for? Is it going to be one of the shorter pre-patches of just a couple of weeks? Is it going to be longer than a month? That was one of the questions. And then the other question was, when is it going to be released? Because the release is going to be tied very closely to the progression of the raid, which ties very closely to mid to late December for Christmas holidays and New Year's Eve holidays and whatnot. So, for the first question, it looks like we are getting a longer pre-patch than usual. In my prediction, I only put a 2 to 3 weeks long pre-patch because that's what Ion Hazikostas, our lead game designer, our god emperor of WoW, has said before that the pre-patch was going to be shorter. So I was assuming a shorter pre-patch, but apparently from this leaked document, the pre-patch is just a month long, as it is standard for previous expansions pre-patches. Now, in the pre-patch itself, in case you're wondering, we are going to get the talents. The new Dragonflight talents are going to be showing up in the pre-patch. We should get, honestly, we might even get the Drakthir being playable in the pre-patch, and definitely that's it. We're not gonna get dragon riding in the pre-patch. We're not gonna get the profession, the new rebooted profession system in the pre-patch. We should get the UI improvements in the pre-patch, the new UI from Dragonflight. That should also come in the pre-patch. But the bigger news, the larger news, is likely what is going to be talked about for a few days following today, especially if Blizzard doesn't give us a clear answer very soon, which is the release date of the expansion in relation to the raid. Now, this is an interesting question because we have faced this before in Castonatria. In case you played Shadowlands since the release, Shadowlands was supposed to come out late October. I think it was the 22nd of October, and then it was delayed a full month. A very rare thing to happen, honestly, but once it happened and Shadowlands came out the end of November, it meant that the raid was released in the first week of December, which meant Mythic raiding went through all the way through December, all the way through Christmas holidays, New Year's Eve, etc, etc. And some players, were resenting the fact that they had to be busy, they had to delay the joy, the experience of a new expansion, which is always very cool. To many people, it's the best part of an expansion, when you get to try all the new things at the start of the patch, at the start of the game, and they had to be, delaying that part because they had to attend to family family matters, they had to attend to unneeded social meetings that you don't really want to do but you're forced to, or simply because you actually enjoy being around your family every once in a while. So that kind of felt bittersweet when it came to the release of Shadowlands. And it looks like we are getting the exact same thing in Dragonflight, because if the expansion comes out November the 28th or 29th, 30th, whatever, that weekly reset, we have to apply the same timings as we usually do. So the first week nothing happens, the second week we get normal and heroic raiding, and the third reset, the third week, we get mythic raiding. Which would mean mythic raiding opens the 13th, the 14th of December, and then the second reset, the second week of mythic, would be starting the 20th to the 21st of December, going all throughout Christmas. So that would be the main complaint and the main concern for many players. You get the fresh, juicy new part of an expansion, the release, where everything is new, where you want to try out everything, etc., except now it's going to be in the middle of Christmas holidays. So players have started to lament this fact and try already to come out with solutions. What about we release the expansion a little bit earlier? What if instead of releasing it on the 28th of November, we release it on the 22nd or on the 15th of November, so that the mythic raid opens by the end of November and you have almost a month before Christmas? What if we do the opposite? What if you release the expansion instead of the 28th of November? What if you delay this by 3 weeks? What if you release this on the 12th of December or on the 19th of December? This way, the first couple of weeks where mythic raiding isn't open, you would be able to go through the Christmas holidays, and you would only have to start raiding in mythic from the 3rd of January or even the 10th of January. This way you can skip the Christmas holidays as a problem. Of course, there also have been quite a lot of people pointing out that, you know, who cares, right? Why should Blizzard develop an entire expansion and then choose an entire release date for an expansion based on two guilds? On the two guilds who will be running for world first in mythic raiding, right? Why do we have to balance the release of a game about a raiding difficulty which is completed by 5% of the population, right? Why should we care? That is true. That is definitely true to some degree, but you also have to remind yourselves a couple of things. Number one, the world first race at this moment is the biggest advertisement, the biggest free advertisement, because Blizzard doesn't even fund it. It's all private, self-made by the teams, by the guilds participating in the content. So Blizzard isn't spending a dime for this advertisement. It's the biggest of the advertisements the game can get. And also, you have to remind yourself that the opening of mythic raiding isn't just the opening of mythic raiding. There is also the opening of rated arena. There is also the opening of mythic plus with its unlocked item level. So players aren't just going into these weeks to raid mythic. They are going in there to farm mythic plus. So now the range of players who are going to be interested in this period isn't just the 5% of mythic raiders. It's all the players who want to get into mythic plus. It's all the players who want to get into rated PvP, and then it's all the players who want to get into raiding. So the numbers start getting quite large. It pretty much starts encompassing, it starts taking into account every type of player who wants to get into the competitive side of the game in the first few weeks. So it is a lot of players at the very start of the expansion. That is why many players have been lamenting, and I'm afraid you will keep seeing this type of lamentation throughout your social medias, Reddit, Twitter, Discord channels, or streams and YouTube videos about this release date. Because it just feels bad. You are excited about the expansion, you want to wake up in the morning and start chaining some Mythic Plus keys for loot, but you know you have to go out and visit your uncle for Christmas that you haven't seen in a year, so you have to, and it kind of feels bad. It feels bad either way. It feels bad to ditch your uncle that you haven't seen in a year, because it's not a nice thing to do, and it feels bad to have to go to your uncle and miss out on the new game. Either way, you are losing out. That is why some players have been suggesting, Blizzard, gently suggesting. I feel that in the next few days, this gentle suggestion will become a little bit more aggressive, passive-aggressive even, but that is the issue for the moment. Once players have seen the initial leaked release date of the expansion, they have immediately identified the possible problem with it, which is the overlapping with the Christmas holidays. So, with this news for today, I'm gonna close the video by asking you, my dear viewers, what would be your solution to this? Whether or not you don't think there should be a solution at all because you don't see a problem with this entire thing, so to you, this is all fine. Or perhaps if some of you are agreeing with the issue, are agreeing with having a new expansion overlapping with Christmas holidays being quite the annoying thing because you would like to just chill, be relaxed and have time to sink, to know life in an expansion just like when you were 15 and you had no worries for once in a while, for once every 2 years, whenever a WoW expansion comes out. It's always a nice experience to go through, and this time it would get kind of hindered by the holidays of the end of the year. So perhaps you might have some better solutions to this. I think the more sensible ones I have read and I agree with are either to anticipate the release so that the first 2 to 3 weeks of raiding and of Mythic Plus farming come before Christmas, so players get their no lifing and their grinding out of the way before the holidays, so it won't feel as bad to get into the Christmas period, or the opposite, or simply delay the expansion or delay the opening of Mythic or the opening of Heroic or whatever past the Christmas holidays, into the first few days, the first week of January, so players can get their holidays, and then after the holidays they can dive deep into the content of Dragonflight. One of these two seem like the more sensible of the solutions for this problem that I guess is going to be caused by the release date of Dragonflight. So, eagerly awaiting your answers on this. I'm going to let you be to the rest of your Thursday. Thank you, of course, as usual, to all of my Patreon supporters for giving me the support needed to continue to produce content for WoW. I'm hoping soon we are gonna get even more content as I get into the beta that should come out in the next week or two for Dragonflight, but for the moment we are kind of stuck being the CEO of the No Alpha company. For further support, you can comment and like down below, of course, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. That is always kind of the end goal of a YouTube channel. And for further final simping behavior, you can follow me on Twitter. I would like to gain a few more followers without having to do one of those wretched giveaways of Dragonflight, please. And you can also support by subscribing to the Patreon down at these two links. With all of this being said, thank you guys once again, see you guys soon, and in the meantime, I am in the camp of delaying the expansion. I am in the camp of releasing the expansion somewhere around the 20th of December, go through the first couple of weeks of no raid, and then start the raid in January. That would be my take for the release of Dragonflight.